it's Stacy, and in this video I'm going to get real explicit with our budget and the type of lodging we landed on in Girona, Spain, where we're going to be for 3 to 6 months during the pandemic. All right, here we go. So given our budget, which I will get into in a little bit, we have to get just real creative with where we're going to stay. But I also don't want to cut any corners because I think, especially again in a pandemic, you're going to spend most of your time at home. So I just want it to be beautiful and a place that we really feel comfortable and enjoy being. So I'm willing actually to spend more on this piece than I might normally. So typically we'll spend, when we both have jobs, about 20% of our budget on lodging, but this time around it'll be about 41%. We are spending a lot less on health insurance, of course, in Spain than we are in the United States, so it feels like it's a decent trade-off. So in the past, we have used this great website called Trusted House Sitters when we went away for the winters, and we would use this primarily in California. There are lots of Californians who like to travel in the winter and because it's too cold for them. And they're looking for house and pet sitters. And so we have had, over the past couple of years, just a super fun time going down, kind of bouncing between LA and the Bay Area, or Sacramento, which I think is now considered part of the Bay Area, and taking care of people's pets. It's been a great experience. And if we have an opportunity to do that at some point during this trip to Europe, then I think we'll take advantage of that. We are staying again in Girona, and I scrolled for hours and hours through different websites, like, of course, Airbnb, VRBO, and then there are a couple of other kind of more local ones called Idealista and another one that I can't pronounce. And so I feel conflicted. I've heard that both here in the United States, and it's the same in Europe, that short-term rentals take away inventory for the locals and drive up housing prices. So I'm really trying to avoid it, but it just became clearer to me that we're not really staying long enough to take advantage of some of the other websites. They typically like a year or longer lease. So we landed with Airbnb. And what I do like about Airbnb is that all fees are included. Like you see what you get, and there's no hidden fees. It's all right there. Whereas with like Idealista and this other one I can't pronounce, you have to ask what all the fees are, because they don't tell you up front and in person. So in many cases you will pay an agent fee if you decide to book a place, because it goes through an agency and not necessarily through an owner. Oftentimes it's a month of rent. So if your rent is, say, 800 euros a month, which is cheap, by the way, in northern Spain, then you're going to pay an 800 euro fee to the agency on top of that. Considering it is a pandemic, and most of the options that I've seen through any of the sites are in town, they are in apartment complexes, so you've got people stacked on top of each other, and Europe, Spain, Italy, they have had to go in serious lockdown, particularly at the early stages of the pandemic. So if somehow we were to get to that point again, I don't want to be stuck in a little 500 square foot apartment. No. So I found this great place, and it's just outside of town. It's about a 15-minute walk into the center of town. It has a bit of land to it It's kind of what you would consider in the States to be like a duplex, where the landlords live upstairs and the tenants will live downstairs, and they have a garden, a nice big yard space. They have a pool, which, makes no difference to me, or none for that matter, particularly in the winter. And it's also within walking distance to a grocery store, which is very helpful. So I'm really pretty excited that we were able to find this place. I broke one of the rules that I had made a couple of years ago, which is not to book something longer than a week in advance, because we had an experience in Thailand a couple of years ago. It was on Airbnb, and man, I gotta give some kudos to those Airbnb photographers, because they can work some magic. This place I booked on Airbnb for 3 months in Thailand, and it looked so cute, and cute it was, but it just turned out not to be a great, appropriate place for 3 months. So I had vowed not to do that again, and oops, I did it again. So, oh God. Anyway, we got a little bit of a discount, that's why, and if we weren't on such a strict budget, I probably wouldn't have done it. But still, I broke my rule. So in terms of our budget, here it is. So we really have about $2,300 to work with. Anyway, we've got the monthly rent. I wanted it to be a max of $1,000. It's close enough. It's $1,050. And it includes all utilities. So there's Wi-Fi, heat, water, electricity. Food is, we typically spend $500 to $550 a month here, and this is strictly groceries. And on VRBO, which is another website where you can compare different qualities of living in different towns around the world. I'll put that site as a link as well. Then, that $400 seems pretty reasonable, so we'll see. Health insurance is hella cheaper than it is in the United States. Wow, $110. I mean, it's mind-blowing. And then transportation is, I don't know, I'm just guessing if we end up going anywhere, which we probably won't for at least a month or two. That might be a little low, actually. But miscellaneous, you always got to have miscellaneous in there because you're going to screw up your budget. And we also want to have a tiny bit of fun money for a few espressos here and there. Some monthly fees for my husband's business, our phone, and then just a quarterly life insurance thing that we have to pay. So there you have it. And once we get to Spain, then I'll give you a virtual tour of our town and our apartment, and maybe our landlords will come out for a minute. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and feel free to ask me any questions, and see you soon.